Morning, glory, America. Bonjour. Hi, Canada. Greetings from the ReliefFactor.com studio. Inside the Big Apple, I'm at AM 970 The Answer this morning in the city that never sleeps, where the UN General Assembly is gathering, joined by Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz, author of the brand new book, Power Grab. You can follow Jason on Twitter at Jason in the House. Good morning, Jason. Welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
This is so timely, not only because of Power Grab, which people need to read to get the run-up to the release of yesterday's MacGuffin, the nothing burger of the transcript, but also timely because you know the House. First of all, your reaction to the transcript.
I think the Democrats were hyperventilating. I think the resistance movement is desperate for anything. I think it was a nothing burger. I don't see the quid pro quo that was promised. The details that Adam Schiff and others said they were going to be there, they're just not there. It's just not.
It isn't, and moreover, it has brought to my attention Hunter Biden making $50,000 a month for a Ukrainian gas company. Now, I just talked with Tom Cotton about this. Yesterday, Senator Lankford said on this show, every inquiry has to begin with Hunter Biden. I agree with that. Why do you think a Ukrainian oligarch is paying Hunter Biden $50,000 a month for 5 years?
He has no background, no experience. We try to be as respectful as possible, but he has a drug history here. And you don't want to have somebody suffer the rest of their life. They have an opportunity to go out and make a living. But at the same time, the only reason that Hunter Biden is involved in this in any way, shape, or form is because his father, his dad, was the vice president of the United States. And just listen to Joe Biden in his own words and make a decision yourself. It's pretty clear he had a quid pro quo in place, and it benefited his family personally.
Given the FBI's great interest in Carter Page and every other person associated with Team Trump in 2016, which you write about in Power Grab, ought the FBI not to have alerted the vice president, the president, and everyone else? Ought Mr. Brennan not to have alerted everyone in the government that Hunter Biden was in a compromising position vis-a-vis Ukrainian oligarchs?
I think one of the big issues that Congress needs to tackle and actually provide some real oversight in is the lack of, evidently, defensive briefings on all fronts for both sides, for Hillary Clinton, for Obama and Biden, but also for Donald Trump. When you become the nominee for the presidency, you get Secret Service, you get CIA briefings, you get other types of protective measures in place. This is why the intelligence apparatus is there, to help protect people. And where are the defensive briefings?
No, there weren't any. And I just do think if they had to have known that he's going to, I don't even know if Hunter Biden went to the Ukraine, but $50,000 a month you at least ought to get on a plane, right?
Yeah, it might be good to show up a time or two.
Now, what do you think he did at the board meetings? I want people really to focus on this. You've got an American who doesn't speak Ukraine coming in to pick up a check for $50,000 a month. If he's coming in, board meetings in America, you're supposed to attend or you're going to be under the Dodd-Frank bill. You're going to be culpable. Or even before that, there was another bill that makes you culpable if you're a bad board member. What do you think he did during those board meetings, Jason Chaffetz?
Well, he had no background to contribute to the well-being of those shareholders. If I was a shareholder, I'd be just fuming. Like, why are you putting this guy on there? And again, we've been talking about Ukraine, but the China situation is probably even worse.
I don't even know anything about the China. Fill me in on the details of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and China.
Well, the $1.5 billion that reportedly has been coming across in a deal where Hunter Biden was suddenly, flying on Air Force Two and involved and engaged. I just don't understand. The Chinese would take that money and give that and have that money flowing to this organization that Hunter Biden's involved with. I'm saying if you're going to go spend time and explore things and see conflicts of interest, there's actual evidence there, Hugh, that deserves to be further investigated. But the Democrats they have no interest in doing that.
But, in the modern media world, Jason Chaffetz, everybody knows everything. Democrats are doubling down. They're sending in fresh waves of talking heads and Twitter infantry to try and talk up this transcript as something other than the empty box that it is. It's the Al Capone vault of TV stories. Nothing there. But they're sending in more and more people on Twitter to say it matters, it matters, it matters. Every time they do that, they give fresh life to the Hunter Biden story and the Joe Biden story. It's really nuts. I'm beginning to think Elizabeth Warren is behind this.
Well, I still wonder why is it that Barack Obama has not endorsed Joe Biden? I mean, think about it. For 8 years and beyond, even before that, he told us he wanted to pick the single best person who could take over the presidency at any given moment if, heaven forbid, something happened to him, and that person is Joe Biden. But then all of a sudden, Joe Biden's up for, becoming the nominee, and he won't have anything to do with him. It really is highly suspicious. I don't want to try to buy into all these conspiracy theories, but it does help the rest of the Democratic field. And there are probably some in the Democratic Party who say, look, let's either flush this out now, deal with it, get it behind us, or, it'll take them down and we can move on to Warren or whoever else is going to get the nomination.
I think it's the latter. Let me turn to the rules of the House. I want to see a motion at least to impanel a select committee on impeachment and maybe just to impeach the president. I want a motion on the floor of the House that Nancy Pelosi seemed to promise yesterday, but actually she didn't do anything yesterday. Is she pretending to do stuff, in fact, while she's trying to save her so-called moderate Democrats from voting for impeachment that most of America thinks is a foolish mockery of the process?
Yes, exactly right. Remember, 3 times previously, Hugh, a motion came to the floor and it failed. They tabled it, and it overwhelmingly passed to table it, which to those who don't follow this day to day, that just means we're not going to address this right now. It essentially failed. So if she is going to say that it is a quote-unquote formal inquiry, that it is a formal impeachment, that formality requires a vote that she is not yet willing to take.
Now, the very able, your friend and mine, Kevin McCarthy, is the House leader of the Republicans. Does he have any ability to force a vote on impaneling a select committee on impeachment or moving to articles of impeachment? Does he have any way to do that?
Well, I think what's interesting is that these 6 committees, the short answer to that is yes, they could bring it up themselves in a motion to recommit or something like that. The speaker would then move to table it, and they probably wouldn't get the vote that they wanted to, but they could make a bit of a spectacle on it, and would put a lot of Democrats like Al Green and others and Sheila Jackson Lee in a really difficult spot. Yes, he could do that. What they also need to ferret out is this evidently, I've heard Jim Jordan talking a lot about this, congressman from Ohio, that there are 6 committees that have a memorandum of understanding that was put in place, I believe even last year, put in place to say, earlier this year, not last year, a memorandum of understanding on how these 6 committees were going to investigate the president. And you've heard Jerry Nadler, in fact, he has fundraising emails going out. Impeachment is started. That needs to be unearthed. What is this memorandum of understanding? And you do have this representative from Texas, I'm forgetting his name, who has actually gone and said, you cannot pursue this until you have authorization from the full House. And I think he's right.
Well, now, if Kevin McCarthy does make that motion and they table it, wouldn't that not expose this as a complete joke? I think the president would support Kevin doing that because it is a joke. Everybody knows there's no there. The Al Capone safe is empty. They're trying to spin gold out of hay. It's just not real. I think we ought to expose that with a vote.
Yeah, they have oversold this time and time and time again. That is the history of what the Democrats have done. I think it'd be a very close vote. You do have some more moderate members who are saying, well, an inquiry is fair enough. Let's just keep surfing it. It is absolutely backwards with the tradition of the history of the United States. You do not go on a fishing expedition. You have evidence, and then you pursue that evidence. But that is not the way the Democrats and Nancy Pelosi have been running the House.
Jason Chaffetz, always a pleasure. Congratulations on Power Grab on bestseller lists everywhere. Available at Amazon.com, at Barnes & Noble. It's everywhere. Power Grab. And you can follow Jason at Jason in the House. who is now in the Fox studio, not in the House. Coming right back, America. General Jim Mattis.